And I'm just going to leave the agenda up and, give a few more minutes for people to show up. And I think this agenda is pretty much speaks to what I want. And I'm hoping to get good input and feedback from the group tonight.
I actually added this meeting to both group, both the UPA and NYPA's group event calendars. So hopefully maybe get more people from there.
That'd be great.
So Eddie, where are you?
Oh, I'm in Shanghai.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a long way from California.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Well, thanks for coming, Eddie.
Yeah, of course.
I had two other friends that said they were going to come, and they're boomers like me, so I don't know.
Maybe Sash will get in here soon too.
Well, I'm curious, Nissan, how long do you think we should wait before we?
In the groups I have, we normally wait 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
To get in. So Chiwa, can I get know a little about your politics? I'd like to understand what you think.
You want to know about the project that I'm involved in? Is that what
No,
you said?
Your politics.
Oh, my politics.
Uh-huh.
Somewhere left. Progressive. Very involved in climate change. Yeah.
Would you say climate change is your #1 issue?
Absolutely. Yeah. Without it, nothing else really. I don't want to say it all matters, but unless we solve climate change, all the rest of it will be down the drain. We got to move pretty quick.
And how long have you been politically active?
How long do I think?
How long have you been politically active?
Oh, not very long, couple of years. Before that, I was active as a nuclear waste activist. That's politically active as well, I guess. So I guess I would say more like 5 years.
Oops.
How about you?
Me, I'm somewhere in between anarcho-syndicalist and a technocrat. I've been politically active for about about 10 years now, 10, 11 years. My biggest, what really got me into politics was after George Bush got elected for the second time. And I realized like it's really the system was really broken and like nobody's doing anything. My main issue was originally my main issue was healthcare, as I spent most of my time dealing in the healthcare system due to my family and my positioning, and I saw the horrors of the healthcare system. I thought it was completely backwards. And then so I spent my time then trying to figure out what the problems are. And first thing I noticed is that not many people even know how the system even worked. So first thing was to try to figure out how the system actually functions. Because if I used to go to offices and ask people a question, I go to one part of the office, ask one person this question, get an answer, go to a completely different part of the office and get a completely different answer for the same question.
Yeah.
And I was like, nobody even knows what the hell's going on. So first thing was to try to figure out how the system's supposed to work, to get like a background, something to compare it to. Then I spend most of my time trying to dissect the problem. After that, by getting as much information as we could by giving different network nodes and stuff like that on the web, the deep web, and everything else. And then finally came up to the Justice Democrats. And when we got more people inside there as staff, figuring how bad stuff was, it's like it was already worse than we thought. at that point. From there, so that's when I realized, like, okay, we need to do a whole new system. There's no time. There's no saving the system for now. So that's why we need to build a whole new system. And then from there, I found the People's Party. And then I found a group inside the People's Party, which were really good people, New York people. And one of them actually showed me the clips that show exactly how corporate interests captured our government, and their target was the Supreme Court, and the elaborate plan they pulled off and how they did it. I was like, okay, now this is all recorded, this is all on tape, this is all actual. I'm like, okay. So then the next thing was to construct a plan of how to actually fix that. And so after a lot of research and study, there's only two actual possible methods at this point of actually solving the problem. The first one, which is what we would like to do, but doesn't seem, it gets less and less feasible as time goes on, is called the long game. And the long game is because we have a parliamentary system, and the parliamentary system is easily stalled out and easily powered out by conducting different events and then constructing different leverages. So if we could create a strong voting bloc, a strong allegiance, a movement, we could then pull leverage and then slowly target the different parts of the system one at a time and slowly take that over until we seize full control again. But that takes years using the normal standard procedures of the system. I mean, because you're gonna go through every election cycle, which is every 2 years, plus every other system, every staffing decision and so like that, and having to go through the whole thing with how bills work. So you have to go all the way at the local level and build all the way up. Most people are just trying to go straight to the top. Like, no, you can't. You have to start at the very bottom and work your way up if you do that method. But the second method, which is actually mostly for conservative people that they like, which they're really hanging on right now, is to wait for a very opportune time when there's a power gap. And that normally occurs during, collapse of an empire, which is actually in effect right now. We're currently living through a space slow imperial collapse right now, and our system has become extremely volatile to a hostile takeover or coup. We already had a soft coup attempt that almost succeeded if it had not been for one brave security guard that managed to trick the whole group. So
Jesse.
So they've been planning. So the white wing has been planning a coup and a civil war for a very long time. They have a lot of right wing militias, and we do have a very inept leader. I mean, the dude is pretty much full blown mentally gone. I mean, it's amazing he can still talk straight at this point. Dude must suffer from dementia or something. I don't know, but it's really bad. So,
well, thank you.
And I really don't want to go into getting into the coup or civil war, because we would lose that pretty much very quickly. But people are online right now, as we speak, in public rooms, strategizing on a takeover of this country by attacking our electrical grid and infrastructure, by isolating cities, and by literally camping out away from the camping out and guerrilla attacking our U.S. military. That's not hyperbole. There was actually a video on one congressman in the room where where guy was running for Congress, and one of the guys stood up and asked him a question like, "When do we get the guns?"
Where
And
do we
he's like,
get what?
"No, I'm not joking. I'm little." He was little. He said he was little.
Nissan, can we start the meeting? I
Oh,
love.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just got ahead.
Yeah, we have my guest here, and so I have the agenda back up, and so we're ready for round one, which is introduction, name, place that you're on the planet, and what are you passionate about. And so we're going to go in a circle. So let me see. I'm going to go from my right to my left. There's Eddie, Jesse, Chiwa, Nissan, and me. So that puts you up first, Eddie. Name, where you are, what you're passionate about.
Hey everybody, I'm Eddie. I'm in Shanghai, and one of the things I'm passionate about is understanding the the evolution of society as a system, and reasons, the dynamics of why we end up where we are, and where things might go in the future. So things like economics.
All right, thank you, Eddie. Jesse,
How's that?
there you go.
Okay, so I'm Jesse Donnelly. I live in Valencia, California. I've been somewhat of a political activist since I was 14, and I haven't changed. And I'm glad to be with all of you nice people, because
Oh, I didn't see you, Bruce. Sorry.
That's okay.
So I'm going to let you go after Nissan then. So we'll go to Chiwa, Nissan, Bruce, and me, and then back to Eddie.
Okay, so it's me now.
It's Chiwa now.
All right, I'm Chiwa. I live in Oceanside in the same house as TC, and Oceanside, California. And I'm passionate about helping families make it through whatever happens with climate change in a peaceful and loving way, supporting each other and taking action to create a better planet. And climate change is something I've been into for, I don't know, a couple of years, I guess. And before that, I was into nuclear waste, the nuclear waste issues. So those are all important to me. Basically, I seem to get most interested in things that threaten our very survival. So that's where I guess I put my major passion. But I can get pretty riled up about anything having to do with people trying to take over.
All right, thank you, Chiwa. Nissan.
Hello, everybody. I'm Nissan, New York City boy, born and raised, Upper West Side representing. And I'm passionate about creating a sustainable and logical structure that we could, and system that we could all live in harmony with the planet, and to try to somehow cure this insanity we find ourselves dealing with now, if it at any all possible. I am a IT technician and also a healthcare worker, and I've seen many problems with systems, and I'm here to fix them.
All right, thank you, Nissan. Bruce.
Well, I'm Bruce. I'm on the north coast of America, which is Ohio. And what am I passionate about? My main passion is fixing the political mess this country's in and been in for decades. Because if we straighten that out, I think we can fix all the other problems we're talking about, or at least work on them without getting our heads chewed off. So that's me.
Oh, I guess that leaves it to me. I'm TC Townsend. I live in Oceanside, California. I'm a retired carpenter. My passion is My fantasy is to change the world. My passion is to remember my mission, which is to trust the process and surrender the outcome. So that's everybody. Does anybody need to share again before we move on?
I'd like to share that I'm a member of the UPA, United People's Assembly, and the New York People's Assembly. I'm here to represent for those.
Okay, we're going to do that. Round two. Time for any activist to describe their action, share what support is wanted, and how we may collaborate on a shared path into the new paradigm. So go for it, Nissan.
Oh, it's starting with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So my actions are to try to create new systems. I support the governance structure of sociocracy, as well as liquid democracy. I also look at different other systems for sustainability, such as nuclear hybrid breeders, and solar and wind efficiency and electric vehicles. Also the blockchain and dealing with our new electronics and trying to decentralize power in every facet of every life, and to make sure people take back power.
Okay. Are there any, did you finish? Am I cutting you
Yes,
off?
yeah, I do that through the through local politics, through the NYPA, New York People's Assembly, and I serve other groups around the United States with the UPA, United People's Assembly.
All right, thank you. Are there anyone else that feels like they want to talk about their activism? I invited someone to talk about theirs.
I will.
Right on.
You know, when Bernie Sanders started running, and I became aware of him prior to his running, he had a revolution. You know, more people, young people, and I went to some of his rallies. I went to protest at CNN and videotaped it. You know, just on my camera, and people were very excited. There was about 2,000 people. You know, so it's not like the hippie days when we were against the war. Today we have so many more, aside from war, aside from the military industrial complex, our political system has been controlled by the wealthiest forever, and it still is, even more so. So anything we can do to get some kind of justice in our supposed justice system would be a great thing. How we do that is by joining together with like-minded people and learning what we can do today in today's world, compared to what having Bernie phone banking parties at my house. We did that in 2016. We didn't do any in the last one. It wasn't like, it was COVID and all these other things. But you know, I really appreciate people, and I love people. Everywhere I go, I express it. But that's not going to do anything. What we need is the activism to take down, for example, today we're taking assets from Russian oligarchs. Well, if we can do that, gee, we could take the money from the American oligarchs and the people who are hiding their money offshore, corporations and extremely rich people. And, you know, if you do that, you're also exposing exactly who the worst people are, if that's even possible. Apparently it is, if we're confiscating Russian assets.
All right.
That's one thing.
That's one thing. Anybody else? Chiwa, did you want to tell us what you're?
Oh, I'm in the process of setting up a foundation called the EcoActive Family Foundation. That's basically what I was saying before, working with families. I write children's books, and they're children's books. Some of them have an eco twist. And so my purpose with them is to get children excited about taking care of the earth and have them trickle it up to their parents, because everybody's ignoring climate change right now. And as the IPCC came out the other day and said, unless we do something really fast, we are firmly on track to have an unsustainable and unlivable planet. And so that's kind of the way I go at it.
Okay, thank you. Bruce or Eddie? Eddie, you got something going on? Maybe?
Yeah. I'm working on with a group of people on uh, a crypto enabled community currency. So a method. So currency, is supposed to sort of enable people to help each other and to coordinate. But our current system is set up wrong, and it's set up from, creates artificial scarcity, and it prevents people from helping each other and coordinating. And so we're solving that with a decentralized UBI. So, for example, if you have like a political movement that you're working on, one of the things that you can do is you can sign up to receive a UBI in the community currency and use it to ask each other, other people to help you with your projects. And you can also earn the currency by helping other people with their projects.
All right, thank you, Eddie.
So it's a project of abundance and mutual aid.
Bruce, you look preoccupied.
Well, I just said the wife just came home. I wanted to tell her why she couldn't find me because I'm hiding upstairs. So
Oh,
I didn't want her to think I ran off, although that might make her happy. I'm not sure.
oh,
But I wouldn't call myself an activist. I guess I'd call myself a student. I'm trying to learn more about what all of you people have to say about things. I grew up through the 60s and 70s. So, I saw a lot of radical times, just like you, Thomas. We grew up through the same times and saw the same thing. I was especially pissed this week. I did finish my taxes on Monday. Whenever I do my taxes, I get pretty pissed at the whole system and how it works and doesn't work. But I'm not quite retired, but I'm an electrical engineer. So I have engineers like to see data. We like to see facts. We want to see what's out there and we want to draw conclusions from it. So I've got a lot of opinions on things I've heard about already, as far as alternate energy sources. I've worked in many of those industries. In electric cars, all that kind of stuff. I got opinions on all that, but I'm more in learning mode, trying to find out what's going on. I mean, I've sometimes gotten to the point where, to me, my activism might be me collecting more bullets for when the revolution starts, so I can survive it. But hopefully it won't come to that. But so I'm out here like a semi-dry sponge trying to soak up what all you fine people have to say and see how I think about it.
We've been saying that for 40 years, haven't we, when the revolution comes?
Yeah. It's we did. It's been going on for a long. Those of us my age, we've been thinking that for a long time, and like I said, hope it doesn't come to it. But hell, it always seems like it's just around the corner. Who knows? But
could be. Well, right now it could be.
Yeah. You don't know. We got a lot of weird stuff going on. So
okay.
We literally had a coup attempt.
I want to welcome Adon. And Adon, we've done the first round of introductions, so we're going to ask you for an introduction.
All right. First and foremost, happy holidays, everybody. Second off, just want to say revolutionary love and peace to each and every single person on here. It's a quick introduction. I'm a grassroots organizer in Guilford County, home of the Sissepaw land, think it's important to give a land acknowledgement of the indigenous tribe. I'm originally from Charlotte, North Carolina, and that's home of Catawba. That's an indigenous tribe out there. I do work all across the country with the Racial Equity Institute, where we educate folks on systemic and structural racism in healthcare, housing, banking, education, really all systems have structural and institutional racism in it. So we talk about that. Let's see. I'm also somewhat of a spiritual leader in my community. I do a lot of facilitation around healing and self-awareness and personal development. So again, revolutionary peace and love to everybody.
Okay, Adon, you did round 1 and 2 all in one round. Because round 2 was to tell us about your activities and what you're up to. And so we'll know how to support you going forward. Brian has arrived. Brian, we've done the first 2 rounds, introduction and what is your activism?
How about you, TC? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just bringing people into the.
I didn't realize you were talking to Brian. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, can you, sorry, I'm late. My name's Brian and I'm an organizer with the American Union. And I'm passionate about trying to end poverty, end mass incarceration, and end the endless wars.
So what is your activism?
Organizing people into a union of swing voters behind a specific legislative package to end poverty, end mass incarceration, and end the endless wars.
Thank you. So someone asked, what about me? My activism right now is basically trying to create this group in a way that we support each other and move forward together on shared activities. And one of those activities would be to study the blueprint that Brian has written and make polls to put on social media to get people interested in the blueprint and change the narrative from a negative to a positive, because the blueprint is about solutions. So that concludes the second round, unless anybody wants to go again. Round 3, proposal to operate the assembly as a sociocracy. Sociocracy defined as a system of governance that seeks to create psychologically safe environments and productive organizations. It draws on the use of consent rather than majority voting in discussion and decision-making by people who have shared goal and work processes. And then I added this part about, for safety and health of the group, be mindful of personal accountability, authenticity, and mutual support and acceptance. So it just so happens that we have someone who's very passionate about sociocracy is Nissan, and I would ask Nissan to give us a brief summary of your understanding of sociocracy and how it would work in a group.
Yes, thank you, TC. Yes, so sociocracy is a lateral power structure that is very different from the typical pyramid power structure we normally see. It allows people to empower themselves and through their participation within the system. And they will participate on the basis of their specific, niches of operability and the expertise. So there are 2 points in sociology, first of all, is the sociological structure of a circle. If you think of the regular power structure as a triangle where you have a very few at the top and very large people that gives all the orders down to people at the very bottom, which is the most amount of people. That is how that's how power is distributed there downwards. In a circle, everybody's on equal footing, much like King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Now, the way this works is that in order to populate this, having so many people in a circle to come to consensus, we'll break off into several smaller circles of more greater specificity in order to come up with appropriate information and consent. The next part is the governance structure itself inside meetings. Very different to Robert's Rules of Order, sociocracy only requires that there are no objections to a proposal. There are no motions, there are only proposals. In sociocracy, they have built-in accountability mechanisms. The first is the use of 5 primary roles. Those roles being A, the facilitator, the one who conducts and steers the meeting in order to come up with a appropriate result. There's then the moderator, whose job is it to make sure everybody is following the rules and is being respectful and making sure the meeting stays on track. There's then the coordinator. The coordinator is someone that takes basically represents the larger body or the parent circle to any smaller delegated circles. So they are the speaker of the larger whole to make sure that the smaller groups are doing the work as intended in accordance with the larger group's aims and goals. From there, you also have the delegate, which role is opposite. His role is to take the information from the smaller group back to the larger parent or larger whole group for them to then have a discussion side. He serves as the representative of that group. Next, you have finally, you have the worker or task lead. This is the person dedicated into performing and carrying out the tasks and duties of that particular circle of the group. When sociology is working correctly, it is very quick and efficient creating proposals and also making sure that documents or proposals are refined to a great degree by having every voice heard. Of course, this is a much longer process. As the greater amount of people you have in a group or circle, the longer it takes to get through to everybody's, thoughts. It's very important that people only engage in a group if they have skills or knowledge within that group and its aims. If not, they're not going to be very useful at all. It'd be more of a hindrance.
Okay, Nissan, that's a lot. It's a great introduction, and I want to go into the round and ask first for questions, and then questions, and then opinions. And I'm going to start with the last come, then which was Brian, then Adon, and then we'll go back to Eddie in the original order. So Adon, you want to speak to sociocracy?
I was just curious if I can ask Nissan if he can send that to me, or if there is something I can do to read that on my own time. It was a lot and it sounded really good and really.
I can send you the materials I have.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Just make sure to leave your email in the chat in case I don't have it.
Oh, did I just say we'd start with Brian and I started with Adon? Okay. Sorry. Brian?
Yeah, it sounds good as a way to kind of make sure everybody's on the same page. And address whether or not there's any objections that would keep us from moving forward.
All right, Eddie.
Yeah, I view the creation of bottom-up processes and processes that allow people with diverse viewpoints to resolve disagreements. I think that's very important for moving forward together as a society and solving a lot of problems that are not solvable, at the individual level, that need everybody working together. So I'm in support of this type of system.
I'm lost track, but I think Jesse, you're next.
I agree wholeheartedly in that it's such a simple explanation for such a huge thing, which is great. I want to be in that circle, and I'd also like to get more information on it. And I think that's really a great way to go about it, and I just want to get more involved so I can make more of an effect.
Bob, did I forget? Bruce, did I forget you again?
Well, I'm just lurking out here, but yeah, I would say I didn't have it. I saw your emails and with the links to Sociocracy, and I didn't have a chance to look at it. I'm sorry. Like I said, I was hung up on the IRS all earlier this week. But I guess the part that I didn't quite understand, I'll have to read up on. I don't want to take up the time here, but the idea of focus on consent rather than majority vote. So one of my questions is this a replacement for the type of governance that we have right now? And would it fall within the framework of our current Constitution, which I am a supporter of, or would it require massive change to the Constitution to make it work? That'd be my question.
Wow.
Short answer, yes. Our Constitution is based on a representative democracy. Well, in theory, a representative democracy and a parliamentary system, seeing as but we operate more of an oligarchy or what someone call a company, no, not a company, or whatever, not important. But yeah, so sociocracy is a completely alternate system from democracy, as democracy uses the use of voting, which is more towards affirmative consent, where people have to buy in and give up their power. Whereas sociocracy, we look for objections to make sure, and the objection, anybody can object at any point in time, what's called a paramount objection, which would be defined later. And that would allow them to immediately hold people accountable. There was no built-in accountability mechanism within democracy, as it simply states that it is the majority that rules. So therefore you have mob law. Even if we did have a democracy, which we don't actually have a democracy, but that's a whole nother can of worms I won't get into right now.
Bruce, did that answer your question?
Yeah, it's I've always considered us to, we don't really have a true democracy. What I've always called what we have is a representational republic, but it's been so polluted and perverted over the years that it's, the people aren't represented. So yeah, I'm all for it. When does the revolution start? I'm ready.
Yeah, it started. Well, here we are. We're in Chihuahua.
So I want to, I am still stuck on that question. All right. I want to know what constitutes consent.
That's a very good question. It's very important to define consent. Many groups have defined consent in many different ways. The groups that I use simply state that a consent means no objection. If there's in my local group, we further define that as different levels of consent, or different levels of objection, basically, where the first level would be, I totally agree with this. This is how I would do things. The second layer would be, this is not the way I would like to do things, but I could I could work with it. I'm okay with it. And then the third layer being, I can't do this. I can't, this prevents me from doing obtaining my aims and stuff like that. I can't, it's unworkable. That's what we consider a paramount objection.
Thank you.
Another paramount objection is also something that goes against the aim or constitution of the group.
Are you feeling more confident, Chiwa?
Well, I'm just wondering, I mean, the likelihood of there not being any, ever being any objection is laughable. And so I just wonder how you avoid getting stuck and unable to move forward.
Well, in
Because-
our group so far, we never really had a paramount objection to test this, but there are different mechanisms that have been constructed if this were to occur, none of which has actually been tested yet. So I can't say for sure how that would go down, because right now we're a group of very like-minded individuals and don't really have much outside.
Yeah.
Although,
Yeah,
although
in this group, I can see it, okay, but if you're talking about a system of governance for a nation or a larger group, then I think you're going to run into problems.
yeah, so it's definitely it's definitely the greatest question of scalability that has been with this system. This system has been scaled to a parliamentary system in Eastern Europe, or Midwest Europe. I forgot which parliamentary system it is. You gotta excuse me, but
Okay, Chiwa, do you feel okay? Because Eddie's got his hand up. Eddie, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I was having a thought just then that, if you compare like a bottom-up process versus, hierarchical processes, which is what we're used to, in a hierarchical process, you have a big group and somebody at the top tells everybody, essentially what to do. And if you compare that to sort of a bottom-up process, like a swarm philosophy, in a swarm philosophy, everybody is responsible for their own time and energy, and they're not being directed by somebody above them. They're deciding for themselves, what they want to work on. And then if you think about how to integrate a group of people like this, I think it's okay in a swarm philosophy for people to be working in parallel, like maybe two people, similar goal, but they have different ideas about how to accomplish it, and nobody knows which one is going to work. So it's okay for each of those people to decide, this is what I personally want to work on. And there's a process called, I think it's called Stimergy that TC and I have talked about, where, if people are sharing what they're working on, other people will sort of glom onto things that they see as being, workable, as they think, oh, that's interesting. I think that would work, and they can sort of just get together and work together on that same thing. And the only thing that you have to resolve is when two people or two groups of people are working at odds with each other, 180 degrees. Like, I want this to go that way, and it is mutually exclusive with somebody else who wants to do the exact opposite thing. And in that case, then you have to resolve that disagreement to avoid, the two people or groups canceling out each other's efforts.
that's very good.
Yeah.
I'll take that even further. I mean, there is some psychological theory and stuff behind this. So with the Sturgis thing, yeah, we do have the bandwagon effect where people start seeing something go and they would jump onto it, even if they don't have a full understanding of this. So there's a lot of following because of our tribal nature. Now, this also goes into a larger psychological theory of conditioning by the systems that we put into. The idea that the way we should look at it is that the systems that not only we design, but once we enact in these systems, our consciousness changes by the conditioning, and therefore we end up creating and the way the systems that people are in start adapting to those systems. We filter out and then filter out the people that the system doesn't. And it's kind of hard to explain, but basically in shorter terms, if we have a system that promotes narcissism, you get a lot of narcissistic people at the top, which we have now. But if we design a system that promoted, let's say something we wanted, like participation, which I believe sociocracy does do, we will get people very motivated to participate in it, and we'll just attract people and slowly change the consciousness of people by the structural design, instead of the idea of you having to condition people first and then build a system later based on what their conditioning already is, because that's what most of our system designs are. Most of our system designed based on the idea of what human nature is. Like capitalism.
Simon?
Capitalism tried to make had the whole idea that greed is good. Greed is part of our human nature, and we wanted to take that part of human nature and turn it into something that is actually a positive.
Okay,
That
Nissan,
turned out
I want to ask
terrible.
if everybody's had a chance to talk about this. We're down to less than 10 minutes.
I'm sorry.
And did everybody get a chance to say something about this? I think they did. What I'd like to say about it, I think for this group, it's a great system because we're small. And I think if this group grows, we'll either have to have delegate circles, people that are focused on issues that they share in common. And I think that for the nation or the larger society, that I think that we will vote. That's just my feeling. So does anybody else want to go again? So I think at this point, we'll do a roll call of, are you in, or do you have what is it?
Yay or nay?
Yeah. So I'm looking at, we'll start, where'd we start before? Where's Brian?
Can you please say that again? I don't understand what we're gonna do.
We're going
We're gonna have a
to,
vote.
we're going to have, we're going to have a roll call vote. Do you agree, or are you going to withhold your, are you going to object to us going in this direction? I didn't hear you.
This is on sociocracy?
Yes. Should this group use sociocracy as a framework for moving forward? Do you agree or disagree?
Well, so I guess if we're voting, I'd vote agree. But I guess maybe I misunderstood. I thought the point of sociocracy is that there was no, instead of voting, it was asking if anyone objects, and if there's no objection, then moving
Yeah,
forward.
but your system that you're currently in is a voting system. So you have to change system by the system you are in.
All right, so for my final vote, then I guess, yeah, I vote agree.
Okay, Don. Don may not be here or not hearing. Oh, here
I'm
he is.
here. Sorry, I was struggling to unmute. I am in dramatic
Oh.
pause agreement.
Thank you, Adon. Thank you for being here. Eddie,
Agree.
you agree? Jesse?
Consent.
All right. And Nissan, how do you feel?
Bruce. Yeah, you
Uh,
should go with Bruce.
did I get everybody? No, Chihuahua. What about you?
I agree.
You didn't get Bruce.
Bruce.
That's okay. I'm used to it. In the spirit of things, I'm going to say I have no objection. So,
Well, there we say.
Everybody, unanimous. For more
Yeah.
things to come.
So, actually, we're down to 4 minutes, so I'm going to move to the closing round, which is final thoughts and something else, but I can't remember. So where are we? We're going to start again. Brian, you're up again. Well, no, I'm going to move the circle each time. I'm going to start with sit next to you, and I started with him before. I'm going to start with Bruce.
that figures. My final thoughts are that I am eager to learn more about this, and that I'm sorry I was late to the meeting. I was stuck with some stuff, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this all sets up and how it works. So I'm good.
So I'm going to go to Chihuahua.
I think it's a most interesting experiment, and I look forward to having it work out. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. Jesse.
I totally agree. I'm with everybody else on this, I think, so far. And I'm very pleased that more people are coming and more people are speaking, and we can all learn a lot from each other. Maybe not so much from me, but I'm
Eddie.
I spoke about mutual aid DAO a little bit earlier, so I want to say, if anybody is interested with experimenting with that, you can find me through TC, and I'd be very happy to talk to anybody who'd like to, work with us on that.
Well, thank you, Eddie, and thanks for being here all the way from China. Nissan, you want to have a final word?
Yes, I'm so happy this group has decided to move forward with Sociocracy. Again, if anybody needs any more information or resources and like to learn more, just put your email into the chat and I will get back to you. And Eddie, definitely interested, man. I'm a blockchain man myself. We'll talk. I'm sure we're gonna be talking more.
Yeah.
And thank you for having me, everybody. And hope to look forward to this group to get stuff done.
Brian.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how things develop and seeing what kind of consensus we can develop. So thanks for hosting this, TC.
You're welcome. And
And
thank
I'm
you for
sorry
being
I
here.
was late.
Well, it happens. Adon.
Yes, sir. I just want to say revolutionary love once again. And did someone say blockchain? I love blockchain. So we definitely want to learn more about that as well and talk more about that. Just wanted to say I appreciate everybody. And I'm excited to get to know folks and know what brings you into the work. And just, organizing is all about building relationships. So I'm really excited to build relationships, sustain relationships too, and utilize these relationships, what Nissan was talking about in that breakdown. So just thank you again, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you. My final thought is I'm so grateful for all of you, and that I think we've moved forward in creating a framework that we can use to move forward. And next week, I think I'd like to just continue on the agenda. Should I share screen one last time?
I also like to make known that in the beginning, I would gladly volunteer as to be facilitator for meetings for you to get used to it and conducting meetings using Sociocracy.
To be what, moderator?
Facilitator.
Facilitator, okay. That's cool. And so we'll start out with, I think I'd like to just skip round 4. I think that was just my whimsical thinking, but we could start with round 5. Proposal, as a citizen assembly, we take issues and sections from the Blueprint for a Better America and discuss it amongst the group to craft it to a polling question that we share with the social media. So that's a good place to start after our introductions and whatnot.
Did we hear from Bruce on the last round?
I believe so.
Oh, okay. I
I
just
can
wanted to
talk more
make
if you
sure
want,
everybody
but-
got included.
Okay, we're right at a little bit over 6 o'clock. So is there any final thoughts? And I can stop the share.
On
Stop.
Sociocracy?
Just any final thoughts before I turn off the recording?
Okay, I do want to let everybody know that Sociocracy is still fairly new in human society. And so this is nice to still see you move forward in this grand experiment. It's not as well developed as democracy, as it has not lasted as long as democracy has. So it's good to have more people trying it out and developing it further. And with more minds, it should be able to develop and evolve much quicker.